Who is Sabellian? Well, here's an interesting thing. This new character for many that now appears in Dragonflight and has his own story and feud with Rathian is a pretty old character, okay? He's ancient, shall we say so. Now, to get into the gist of it, he is a black dragon, of course, and he is also the son of Deathwing, the dragon aspect, of course. Maybe not met with Sinistra, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's talk about his history. In the book Beyond the Dark Portal, he appears and he helps Fenris Wolfbrother and Tagar Spinebreaker to recover the Jewel Scepter of Sargeras. And once they manage to recover that scepter, alongside Deathwing, he moves to Draenor. Now on Draenor, him and the Black Dragons that followed Deathwing and Sabellian, they decide to make, the little settlement between Gorgrond and Frostfire Ridge, whatever. And that doesn't go that well for them because back then, well, they had to deal with Gru and his offsprings, the Gorgons. And of course a small group of Alliance Expedition fighters to make things even worse for them. Unfortunately, their eggs were destroyed and Deathwing was forced to flee. So did Sabellian, but Sabellian kinda got stuck in Outland because his father managed to leave that place. Now, of course, as I said, Sabellian's now stuck in Outland, and he has to deal with his fiercest enemy, Gru the Dragon Killer, who got his name just because him and his offspring decided dragons are tasty. And you know what happens. Unfortunately, Gru had like 7 sons, so that really complicates things because it's no longer just one Gorgon, it's like 8. And that's gonna be nice, isn't it? So did Sabellian think, but what can you do? Sabellian hates Gru and his offspring. And you would probably understand why if your whole Dragonflight and your eggs would be butchered by these monstrous beings, and yeah, you don't really want that coming your way. But whatever. Sabellian wouldn't be really that alone there in Outland because he would make a friend, and that friend is none other than, I think, everybody's favorite half-orc hybrid, Rexxar. Now, with Rexxar, it's not really presumed that Rexxar knows Sabellian is, a black dragon, which would probably complicate their friendship. But be that as it may, they have a pretty nice, cordial relationship. For the most part. Now, Sabellian, his human form, goes by the name of Baron Sablemane. He uses the same title that his father apparently does, which is interesting. He's also a quest giver in this whole, what was it called again? Oh yeah, the Burning Crusade, like the worst expansion ever. And he's located outside the Circle of Blood in Blade Age Mountains. That's a hard thing to pronounce right now. You see, this mountainous area was created as a merger of Frostfire Ridge and Gorgrond. The moment Ner'zhul decided to open those portals and kinda doom himself to becoming the Lich King. But fret not, because if you play his story, you get to kill 2 of Gruul's sons, Gorgrom the Dragon Eater and Gok. During that questline, of course, Sabellian will show his true colors as a black dragon. And he will personally help you fight Gok, if I remember correctly. At the point of Cataclysm, it was presumed that Rathian was unaware that Sabellian was really out there, that he existed. Fun fact, Sabellian and his entourage, his group, they are not affected by the old god's corruption. It is presumed that happens because, they are far away from Azeroth where the old gods are, and thus they are not influenced by their maddening whispers. But again, the old gods are kinda gone, technically, not really, but, it's kinda weird about that. let's move on a little bit with Exploring Dragonflight. Because in Exploring Dragonflight, we get a report from Mathias Shaw that mentions the SI7 know the true nature of Sabellian. That he's still in Outland, and he's actually not an immediate threat. And of course, after Cataclysm, any dragon should be considered a threat, be it immediate or not. Because you know what Deathwing did to the city, to Stormwind and Ogrimmar. Though Stormwind had it worse, I have to agree there. And now, here he is in Dragonflight, vying for the position of Earth Warden, or as leader of the Black Dragonflight, whatever you want to call it. He's fighting that fight against none other than, well, Rathian himself. But let's move on to some little interesting thing regarding his relatives before we get a little bit more into Dragonflight. Now, while the Lineage pictures from Thrall, Twilight of the Aspects, and the magazine number 2 list him as the son of Deathwing and Sinistra, the Ultimate Visual Guide refers to him as the half-brother of Onyxia and Nefarian, which raises some interesting question. I guess those materials aren't canon anymore, but we'll have to talk about them. This raises an interesting question because Sinistra is the only dragon that managed to survive mating with Deathwing. Thus we got Onyxia and Nefarian. Some presume it is possible that Deathwing as Neltarian had another mate, and that's how Sabellian appeared. Interesting, but we don't know. Probably more information will be related to us in Dragonflight. Though, how good it will be related, I doubt it. I mean, just expect him to turn mad and evil during the expansion, because of course he will. Because never trust current Blizzard writers or developers. Most of them really aren't that good at what they're doing, so it's not my fault. Something bad happens. So again, this is the story of Sabellian. And you know what? I'm really vying for this guy to win, to be put on the throne. I really want him to do it because he didn't really start, the invasion of the Burning Legion sooner than he should have been warranted, and make us lose Vol'jin and Varian Rin, which are two very important characters and characters that many people hold dear. Now we kind of got Vol'jin back in a way, in a sense. Whatever. Look, I know they're gonna turn Sabellian as the bad guy. That's not gonna change. They're gonna do that. I have no doubt about it. But if that happens, I'm also expecting them to go with the middle option, which is gonna be Ebonhorn. Because Ebonhorn probably will become the leader of the flight, seeing as he was uncorrupted for a very long time. Apparently he was uncorrupted while his other kin were corrupted, including Sabellian. He didn't start wars like Rathian did, and he didn't do messed up stuff to put us in this current predicament that we're in. So I'm expecting them to go with Ebonhorn. And I gotta be honest, I don't care if it's Sabellian or Ebonhorn. I just want Rathian to lose.